Welcome to the Blinking Goggles update video. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the servos so it's not interrupting me when I'm talking. Real quickly, to catch you up to speed, I've been working on getting this photo resistor to work with the LED so it can sense whenever the eyes are open and closed. I've been using the DigiSpark, which looks like this. It does not have a serial out, so when I'm troubleshooting the sensor readings and getting everything set up in the code properly and calibrated, it's literally just shooting in the dark, and then I'm guessing, and then I'm trying to see if I'm getting a reaction from the servos, and that was just not getting me where I needed to get. And so I switched over to an Arduino Uno. You can see right here, kind of, it's in the bottom, kind of plugged in. And what I've been able to do with that is it has a serial out. And you can see here, I am streaming from my computer the display, so you can see I'm getting these values from the sensor from the photoresistor. And if I come over here and I move my finger, you can see that the value goes up and goes down, and I can modify the value by having something close. So that is working really well as far as troubleshooting. So I think I've got things figured out in the code so it will blink. Now let's go over the sensor, the way I have it set up real quick. I have played with mounting this so many different ways, and what I've found works best is essentially mounting the LED or the light emitting whatever close to the photoresistor itself, and then blocking any light from traveling from the photoresistor to the, from the LED to the photoresistor. That way, whenever the light comes out and hits on a surface and it comes back, it is able to illuminate the surface. It's very similar to how a mouse looks, where it has a light and a sensor, or if you've seen any of the sensors that have the detect motion, where it has an LED and a sensor paired right next to each other, but the photoresistor is put on a kind of a shelf to keep any direct light from the LED to the resistor away, and it only sees reflected light. That setup is actually working really well. And the main concept that I had for this was that a light would be shining into your eye, and then the reflectivity of your eye would, have a higher value to the photo sensor when you're open and closed, and that just was not working. So honestly, this is not really working the way I had it planned initially, because I've got, you can see here, the LED that's on, and then the photo sensor here, and I have a black electrical tape wrapped all around it so that there's no light going from the side, but the light comes out, and it's really just hitting the side of where my my eye is. And whenever I close my eye, I think the skin of my eyelids is closing, and it's basically seeing that motion. It's kind of a finicky deal, but I've got it set up so it actually works pretty well. And here I'm going to put the goggles on my face, and you can watch how. Okay, so this is with the goggles on. I'm like about 100. I'm low 100s. If I close, I go up to like 150, and it's very consistent. Open, close, open, close. I can't really show you this and the goggles on my face at the same time, but when I plug it in, you'll see how the value I've set to the light limit is 145, so whenever it goes over 150 here, it blinks. A quick demo of that, I'll turn it on. So we're going to let it initialize, and it's a little bit twitchy at first, but whenever I put it on my face, my eyes are open, I'll blink, and it works for the most part. Here, let me switch the camera around real quick, and I'll show you what that looks like on my face. And it does lag, it definitely lags from the blink itself. All right, oh my gosh. My cables aren't long enough. Let's see if I can. This is a mess. All right, one more second. Gotta love live streams. Like that. All right. Okay, here we go. This is so awkward. All right, whatever. So if I close my eyes, oh my gosh, now I'm just freaking out. See, now it's not wanting to work. It might be, there it goes. All right. Okay, this is like painful and awkward. So basically I'm getting there. I have the code so that it blinks. Right now I'm using one trigger, and that one trigger will cause both of the irises to blink. Once I get that ironed out, then I'll switch over and I'll have two sensor inputs, and I'll be able to independently blink either iris. But the thing that I guess I could really use some help from my viewer people is there's this scale. So when in my environment with, you know, my lights all just the same, and when I'm testing, ambient light is around like 200, but when I put the goggles up to my face, it drops down to about 100 or 90, and then when I blink, it goes from like 90 to like 150 and back. So it is able to tell when I blink. However, if I look into like a bright light, or like just now when I was looking up, I was getting a lot more light in, and it wasn't working properly. So it's still, the scale is dropping about 50 or so points on the analog signal, but that entire scale shifts depending on the ambient light. And I know there's some, I did this when I was in college, and I just have not, I don't remember how to do it, but you can do like a rolling average. So you can take a poll and say, okay, for these 2 seconds, or these 200 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds, whatever, take the average, and then if the average jumps up by however much, then that is now a trigger. So it doesn't matter doesn't matter what the environment is, as long as the sensor is moving the average up or down, that's what counts. And I think that's what we need to implement in the code to make it more consistent, because as you just saw, it would blink when I'm looking down at my desk, but when I look up to look, you know, show y'all, but the lights from the ceiling come in and it blows everything out. So yeah, that's kind of the next step, is to figure out how to implement that code in. But it's working, and I just need to figure out how to get everything to work on the DigiSpark, because when I mean, it's the exact same code. I bring it over from the Arduino and I recompile it for the DigiSpark. It's not really working, and I don't have a serial out, so I don't know why or where that the signal is, or as far as, you know, what value I'm getting from my analog in. So I'm going to be poking around with that, and we'll figure it out. It's just going to take a little bit of time to iron out the wrinkles. Oh, this is actually really important. I'll show you kind of the setup I have for the resistors. Sorry for all the quick movements. I'm going to move this. Alright, we're going to turn that guy off. He's super twitchy. So what I have learned, and this is again something that people probably already know, and they're like, you're stupid, we knew this, but just for anyone else following along that wants to do something similar, you need a resistor between the photoresistor and the Arduino analog in signal. And the way I have it, and this is super messy, and when I'm done, I'll make sure and, you know, provide more clear plans, but just as a update, this is a 330, it's a orange, yellow, that's a 330K resistor. And I put two of those in series, so I have 660K of resistance, kilo ohms of resistance. And that made the signal much more, so it didn't jump from like, you know, 20 to 50. It would jump from like 100 to like 200. It made the difference in light more exaggerated. So that was something that was a big breakthrough, was figuring out, okay, if I add a lot more resistance in line with the photoresistor to the analog input on the Arduino, it was giving me a larger scale of difference, and that way I could kind of zone in a lot more accurately on where to put the trigger point for the blinking. Again, this might not even be ideal, but this is where I'm at, and this is kind of what's working. So yeah, please, if y'all have any tips on how to implement the moving average on the code, that would be awesome. And yeah, this is just a quick update. I'm definitely going to be trying to get more of it working, but this was like a huge breakthrough, was figuring out how to mount these two sensors, and that way whenever I blink, it does trigger off of my eyes. I know I didn't really demo that for you very well in this video, but whenever I'm looking down at the bench and the lighting is good, it actually does trigger very well. So that was promising, at least. It definitely needs to be more refined, but it is working, and I was afraid I'd have to switch over to my mechanical switch, but thankfully I don't think we're gonna have to do that. We can roll with some photoresistors and make this work like I wanted. All right, guys, I think that's it for now. Stay tuned for more updates, and I will see you next time. Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Are there any comments? Oh, guys, come on. you gotta put some comments. Surely there's questions. Make sure and put questions while I'm talking, and at the end of my videos, I'll be sure and roll through the comments and answer whatever I can. And so, yeah, please do that, and I will see you next time.